Hello, Ms. Hua, and today I'm Phương Thành will present about the final topic of sensory marketing, which covers the chapter 7 of sensory principle of taste and the final chapter of multisensory principles. Now, let's move to the first part, which is chapter 7. Alright, so in chapter 7, we will discover about the sensory principles of taste. Let's first think about something. When we think about why we like a certain food or drink, taste is often the first thing that comes to mind. But taste in marketing isn't just about the flavor, it's about the entire experience. So let's move on with the first part. About the human tongue. Taste is the direct driver of the product satisfaction. It is the key in the food, beverage, and hospitality. So imagine it's the fresh baked smell wafting from the cafe, the texture of the perfectly crisp chip, and the emotional comfort of a familiar flavor from the childhood. Now, brands really knows this, and that's why we guard the recipes like the trade secrets and maintain the strict consistency. Now, about the physiological of taste, let's start with the basics. The biology. Our tongues are covered in tiny taste buds that detect the five primary tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. Each taste bud sends the signal to the brain, which then integrates that signal with texture, temperature, and smell to create what we call flavor. So when you bite into a burger, it's not just the meat you're tasting, it's the bun's softness, the sauce tang, the cheese creaminess, and the scent of grilled beef, all combined. But taste is also highly subjective, as the psychological of aspects of taste. What tastes delicious to you might be too salty or too bland for someone else. Psychology plays a big role here. When branding, price, and presentation can make something taste better even when it's physically identical. For example, in studies, people consistently rated the same wine as better when told it was expensive. Emotions also matter. When we're in good mood, we tend to rate foods as tasting better. Now, here's an important fact of taste perception. Up to 80% of what we call taste is actually smell. That's why when you have a cold or your nose is blocked, food tastes really bland. Smells can trigger the powerful memories. Think of the aroma of popcorn at a movie theater or fresh bread at a bakery. Now, move on with the cultural influences on taste. Our taste preferences are also shaped by where we grow up. If you were raised in Thailand, you may crave the spicy chili flavors. In Japan, you might have a preference of umami-rich miso soup. That's why global brands must adapt. McDonald's serve spicy paneer in India or teriyaki burgers in Japan, or Arabia sandwiches in the Middle East. Understanding the cultural taste differences is crucial for successful product launches. Now, in taste and brand positioning, in food and beverage, taste can be the core differentiator. If you think of Coca-Cola, it's not just about their logos or colors that create the brand loyalty. It's the unmistakable flavor that hasn't changed in decades. Seasonal flavors can also be powerful, like Starbucks pumpkin spice latte, which turns into a cultural event every autumn. But consistent is key. Customers expect the same taste every time. Alright, so in Service environment, specifically in multisensory integration in taste marketing, taste doesn't act alone. It's influenced by all our senses. With the sight, a bright red strawberry looks sweeter than a pale one, or touch, a creaminess of gelato adds to the flavor. The sound, the crunch of potato chips signals the freshness, or the smell, which completes the flavor profile. Even packaging can change how we perceive the taste, like heavier wine bottles feel more premium, or colorful candy wrappers can make the sweet seem more fun. So that is why marketers focus on experiences, not just ingredients. Sampling is one of the most effective tactics. Think of the free food stands in the supermarkets, or product demonstrations, in-store cooking sessions, and descriptive menu writing like slow cooked beef and a rich red wine reduction. All work to stimulate your taste imagination before you even take a bite. Now, there's something that's called the halo effect, where the positive perception of one area affects your judgment in another. So this affects the brands and products. When if you believe a brand is premium, you're more likely to say their product tastes better. This is why wine tastes better when we see the high price tag, and why attractive packaging can actually improve the perceived flavor of the product. Also, taste can be deeply nostalgic. A certain ice cream flavor might remind you of summers as a kid, or a special dish might bring back the memories of family gatherings. So brands that create a signature taste like Coca-Cola, KFC, or Ferrero Rocher aren't just selling a product, they are selling a piece of identity and emotion. However, of course, taste marketing has challenges when we can't transmit taste digitally yet. Cultural preferences make the global consistency tricky, and innovation is risky when change the favors too much, and you risk alienating loyal customers. Remember what happens with New Coke in 1980s, a classic lesson in why core taste does really matters. Okay, enough on the sensory principles of all five senses: vision, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. Now we move on with how to combine all of them with multi-sensory principles. And this is also the last chapter in the sensory marketing. Okay, so multi-sensory marketing is all about engaging our five senses: vision, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. So they work together to create richer, more memorable brand experiences. So our senses work in two main ways. Externally, when we perceive the outside world, like reading text, smelling coffee, or feeling a product in your hands, and internally, when we recall or imagine those experiences. This is where sensory integration comes in. It's the brain's process of taking all these inputs, what we see, hear, smell, touch, and taste, and turning them into a single perception. From an evolutionary perspective, this integration was vital. Smell and taste helped early humans detect the safe food. Vision and hearing helped them navigate and avoid danger. Vision and touch helped in crafting tools and objects. And today, companies like BMW or BMW replicates this by simulating multiple senses the moment you stepped into their showroom. Okay, so about the multisensory phenomenon. Multisensory perception happens when two or more senses are engaged at the same time. Your brain processes their input together, often unconsciously, to perform a stronger memory and emotional connection. Research shows that vision often works hand in hand with touch to build confidence in a purchase. For some products, touch can even outweigh the visual impressions. But there's a balance to strike. This is where the optimal stimulation theory comes in. If the environment is too bland, customers look elsewhere for stimulation. If it's too overwhelming, they tune out or even leave. A Canadian study tested this music and scent in the shopping mall. Music alone increased the impulse buying, when scent alone encouraged planned purchases, but music and scent together, if mismatched, actually reduce spending. The lesson: congruence is crucial. Alright, let's go with multisensory interactions in service environments. Retailers have long known for the right combination of sensory cues that shape customer emotions and behavior. For example, in one study, slow music paired with lavender scent in a gift shop increased the customer satisfaction and positive evaluations. In another, IKEA's glassware section saw a 217% increase in sales after adding warm lights, decorative mats, and a hint of vanilla scents. Customers touched products longer and bought more. The principle is really clear. Sensory elements work best when they complement each other. Now, when we think about the brand, we don't just see its logo. We might remember its sound, its scent, and the way it feels in your hand, even its taste. Packaging is a big part of this. It's not just about protection or information, it's a sensory ambassador for the product. The crinkle of a snack bag, the pop of the wine cork, or the texture of a bottle. All of these shape perception. In product evaluation, vision and touch dominate. If they match, the product feels right. If they don't, if they, it can spark curiosity and lead to deeper engagement. And sometimes deliberately breaking sensory expectations, like pairing an unexpected texture with a certain scent, can make a product more intriguing. Alright, so move on with multi-sensory brand experience. In physical environments like spas, hotels, or tourist attractions, vision often leads, but touch, sense, sound, and taste each add their own emotional weight. Online environments have historically been limited to vision and sound, but new technologies like VR, AR, and haptic feedback are starting to expand that. Touch screens, for example, can increase the emotional ownership of a product before it's even purchased. Now, let's combine all of these via a case study from Kia Motors. Kia's journey is a perfect example of multisensory branding in action. With in the early 20s, Kia was seen as low cost and low quality, but they invested in the complete sensory rebrand. For vision, they introduced the distinctive tiger nose grille so you can spot a Kia instantly. For hearing, Kia created a sonic signature, the rise of surprise, used across ads, websites, and even in cars themselves. With smell, they developed a Kia fragrance, a blend that reflects their brand values. With touch, Kia enhanced the feel of driving with features like smart entry, 360 degrees cameras, and smooth interior finishes. And finally, with taste, they partner with Michelin star chefs to design the branded menus for events. So by engaging all five senses consistently, Kia transformed its image and climbed to the top of quality rankings. And this case of Kia also marked the end of our topic as well as the sensory marketing. Thank you for your listening.